global economy is currently bleeding out in the waters of the Middle East, but the weapon destroying it isn't a ballistic missile or a stealth submarine. It is a brilliantly evil, highly calculated financial trap. For decades, the world feared that Tehran would completely close the Strait of Hormuz. A total military blockade would immediately trigger World War III, but Iranian strategists realized they didn't need to close the strait to win. They found a terrifying loophole in international maritime law. Instead of building a wall across the water, they built a shadow toll gate, and this invisible checkpoint is about to completely tank the global economy. Let's look at the terrifying math behind this geopolitical choke point. 20% of the world's total oil supply passes through this narrow corridor every single day. That is roughly 21 million barrels of liquid gold keeping the West alive. If you stop that flow completely, the US military strikes your capital by midnight. So the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps completely changed their tactics. They started executing perfectly timed, highly deniable corporate kidnappings. Here is exactly how the new Hormuz tollgate actually operates. A massive commercial oil tanker enters the strait, entirely unarmed and incredibly slow. Suddenly, its GPS navigation system is violently scrambled by electronic warfare. The ship's captain loses complete control of their digital map. Within minutes, unmarked fast attack speedboats swarm the massive vessel. Heavily armed commandos rappel from helicopters directly onto the main deck. They force the tanker to alter its course and sail directly into Iranian territorial waters. And then, the absolute silence begins. There is no public ransom demand broadcasted on international television. Instead, a quiet, completely untraceable negotiation takes place in the dark. The shipping company is forced to pay a massive shadow tax to get their ship back. It is a literal mafia protection racket operating on a global multi-billion-dollar scale. But the secret ransom payments are actually the smallest part of the economic disaster. The real destruction happens thousands of miles away in London and New York. It happens inside the massive insurance companies that underwrite global shipping. When a multi-million-dollar ship is hijacked, the risk algorithms instantly panic. The insurance premiums for any vessel entering the Persian Gulf absolutely skyrocket. In a matter of weeks, the cost to insure an oil tanker jumps by 10,000%. Who do you think pays for that massive sudden spike in shipping costs? The shipping companies immediately pass that exact cost directly to the oil refineries, and the refineries pass it directly to the gas pump in your neighborhood. This is the genius of the Hormuz tollgate strategy. Iran is weaponizing global inflation to punish the Western world. They don't have to fire a single shot at an American destroyer to inflict massive pain. They just have to seize one commercial ship every few months to keep the terror alive. The constant looming threat is enough to completely shatter supply chain stability, and the United States Navy is facing an impossible mathematical nightmare trying to stop it. You might be asking, why doesn't the US just escort every single ship? Because roughly 40,000 massive commercial vessels pass through that strait every year. The American military simply does not have enough warships to play bodyguard for everyone. Even the most advanced naval armada in human history cannot be everywhere at once. The IRGC knows the exact patrol schedules of the American carrier strike groups. They wait for the absolute perfect window, strike in minutes, and vanish with the ship. This shadow war is completely rewriting the rules of global economics. It is proving that you don't need a massive trillion-dollar navy to dictate global trade. You just need geographic leverage and the absolute willingness to break the rules. If this extortion strategy continues to escalate, the math becomes apocalyptic. Energy analysts are quietly preparing for oil to shatter the $150 mark. If that happens, the fragile post-pandemic economic recovery completely dies. Mortgage rates will explode, manufacturing costs will double, and global recession is guaranteed, all because a highly strategic waterway has been turned into a hostile checkpoint. The West built an entire civilization deeply dependent on cheap, easily accessible energy. And now the absolute worst-case scenario is knocking loudly on the front door. The blackmail is no longer theoretical, it is actively happening right now. Commercial captains are genuinely terrified to enter the dark waters of the Gulf. The balance of global power isn't shifting in the halls of the United Nations, it is shifting on the rusted decks of hijacked oil tankers at 3 in the morning. The Hormuz tollgate is officially open for business, and whether we realize it or not, every single one of us is paying the price. The geopolitical trap has been sprung, and the jaws are slowly closing tight. Watch the crude oil index closely over the next few weeks, because the next time a ship goes dark on the radar, your wallet is going to feel it. The era of free and safe global trade is rapidly coming to a violent end, and the economic bleeding has only just begun.